He either crashes them, loses them, or they just completely sail off into the sunset.
Yes, and what would you do with a drone?
If you've watched any drone footage, you realise what I would use it for. It's just beautiful. You get beautiful scenery shots.
Yes, but how many of those could you do and use? What are we going to get? Endless aerial shots of the Marnie?
Well, no, and of me and Sarah walking up and down the tracks.
Yeah, is that worth €500? That's what I'm asking myself.
He's laughing in the back.
Yeah, rent space on his, darling. That is not a good reason for buying one. I'm so sorry. It's not.
I know, but I can't find him, Judith. Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome back to the new year then.
Well, what we should say is Happy New Year. Yes, this episode goes out on the 30th of December. So we are recording it pre-Christmas. So I'm imagining my one thing about my week.
Okay. Well, I have got something, but it'll be old news by the time
Well, go on. Tell us your old news then.
Instagram Live went live today. So, you can do Facebook Live videos direct from your page. And for a while now, you've been able to do Instagram videos, which means you can record or upload up to a minute, and then they changed it to 3 minutes on Instagram. Well, today you can actually broadcast live on Instagram to your Instagram people. And presumably, like with Facebook Live, there is a place where you can go to see who's broadcasting live right now on Instagram around the world. So I'll have to find that, an Instagram Live map. But basically, it's a brilliant way for someone like Phoebe. Once she's put a new video up on YouTube, she should go onto her Facebook page and do a little live broadcast telling everyone what the video is about and to go and see it. And then she should go onto Instagram and do a little live video telling everyone, to go and look at her new YouTube video. It's really interesting because Instagram's owned by Facebook. And Sarah and I were talking about this morning briefly, and she was saying, I don't understand why they're trying to make Instagram just like Facebook. It seems completely pointless.
Well, I'm imagining it might be because some people prefer one to the other.
It's true. True. The younger generation.
Well, you've got two doorways through to the same place, haven't you?
Yeah. The younger generation definitely prefer Instagram and Snapchat, and they're not so much on Facebook and Twitter.
I knew this news before you told me because occasionally people send me messages that say things like, join Instagram, 723 of your friends are on it. And I think it's never going to happen. But the one that I got yesterday said, join Instagram, 723 of your friends are on it. And it was from somebody who said, I've joined it because I can now do videos on it.
Ah, interesting. Who was that?
Yeah, well, one of my colleagues.
Oh, colleagues, that's very
well. So photographs have never been interesting to her, but live is interesting to her. Yeah. So it gave her a reason to join Instagram.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more of this live stuff this year because when we were doing Phoebe's CV, because she flirted briefly with the idea of trying to get a job in a digital agency and then realised it really wasn't a good idea at all. We were assessing skills, and one of the skills that she has that I have is that we are quite happy presenting live to camera on the hoof, as it were. And I tell you who else is really good at it, the guy that you originally introduced me to, Matt Duggan. He's crushing it on Snapchat.
Yes.
Really good at it. So what about your week then?
Well, by the 30th of December, I will be coming towards the end of my 2 weeks off work, and I will have spent the 25th at my brother's, and this year I'm excited about it, which is not always the way, because it's always a bit hit and miss.
You've started to really enjoy it now, haven't you?
Well, this year it's been a good year for me and family, actually, and let's hope that's the first of many. But I'm feeling good about life, I'm feeling good about myself, and I'm excited about 2017. I've been excited about 2017 for a few weeks now. It's all this supermoon stuff and closing off 2016, which hasn't been great.
Yeah, absolutely. Up and down, as we recalled last week.
yeah, up and down, indeed.
It's got to be better. Now, didn't you tell me something super exciting about 2016 being the year of things coming to an end?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's actually not just a year of things coming to an end, but it's the end of some sort of 9-year cycle of grimness. And certainly I've been in a 9-year cycle of grimness. So bring it on.
Yeah, so 9 years from 2017 would have been 2008.
Well, it was when the credit crunch started.
Yeah. God, it has been a tough 9 years.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
So what's fueled your fire, or what's going to fuel your fire?
Well, I know what's fueled my fire, and I've got permission anonymously from 2 clients to read it out, because after I put in last week's newsletter my 12 gifts, which were about the different aspects of membership of Small Business Big Magic, and interestingly, the 2 people I'm going to quote who said nice things about Small Business Big Magic are both listeners of the podcast. So the first one's long, and it says, one of my favourite of the 12 gifts on your list is a favourite because it's so much more than I expected. It's the gift of this group. So Small Business Big Magic has a Facebook group as well.
Yeah.
The safe space, the support, the community, the friendship that this group offers has been invaluable. So thank you. Having listened to you on the podcast and read your writing, I was fairly confident you'd be a great coach, but your role as shepherdess should be emphasised more. Bringing us lambs together in one place and encouraging us to connect and support each other has created a unique space for which I'm very grateful to you and, of course, to my fellow SBDMers. Now, shepherdess, of course, is a lovely Christmassy word, so I thought I'd throw that one in here. While shepherdesses watch their flocks by night, or whatever it was.
Yes.
And the other one, much shorter, came up yesterday, and I said, do you mind if I use this on the podcast tomorrow? And the answer was no. Somebody who came in and asked me a question in writing in that group and then got her answer. First of all, I thought I was going to have to say to her, because it's quite a complex question, I think we need to speak about this, and the next call is tomorrow. But we managed to sort it out in writing. She said, I love these quick-fire conversations on here. I've learned that they literally save me from days of deliberating this, that, and the other. So what's fueled my fire is 2 great pieces of feedback about the value delivered in the Facebook group that goes along with membership of Small Business Big Magic.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because we discovered the power of that I discovered the power of it back in 98, 99, when Thomas Leonard started using Yahoo groups. They were invented. Yeah, and it really was powerful. We both used it ever since, haven't we?
But you know why? It can be isolating working for yourself from home, can't it? Yeah. And to have and actually, if you've got people are used from jobs to having sounding boards, and if you can get an answer to a question quickly, which means you can crack on, or makes you feel better about yourself, or alleviates the loneliness of the long-distance entrepreneur, then so much the better, I think.
Yeah, I'm in quite a few. I like the smaller ones, but the bigger ones are really good for market research. I'm in one rather funny one called El Benbow's Lair, and I'm not absolutely sure what it's about. I think it largely exists so that marketers can take the mickey out of other marketers, especially the ones in the group. So I'm sort of hanging on till I get the point of it, but I'm a bit slow on the uptake sometimes, as you know.
I do.
But I just like the name, El Benbow's Lair.
Yes. Tell me what's fueled your fire.
Well, what will have fueled my fire by the 30th of December?
Yes.
My Christmas present to myself, which is a new camera. Now, you could argue that you don't need a camera, what with iPhones being so good and all that, and the fact that you can get little screw-on lenses for your iPhones nowadays. But the problem I've found with using my iPhone for camera and video is that it doesn't have enough storage capacity. And I'm constantly running out of space on it, which means that it won't then function until I've uploaded whatever is taking up the space. So Phoebe got a camera, obviously, to do this stuff that she does, and she's advised me on a model that is approved by Casey Neistat, but not as expensive as some of those ones. And she deems might be simple enough for a Ma to figure out how to use. I did used to do photography at college, so I do enjoy it, and it's more going to be about video. But the point is that I'm going to really enjoy over the Christmas period when everyone else is doing whatever they do at home in England. I'm going to be reading very small instruction books, I expect, and figuring out how to use this damn thing.
And you said it's a video as well as a stills camera.
Yes, it's a digital DSLR, which means that it's a really good quality camera and does video as well.
So you're taking up a new hobby then, decent photographs. Yes,
and I'm still trying to resist getting a drone, but I think I might have to get one eventually, i.e. within the next 3 months. Because I'm desperate to take some drone shots of the surrounding areas.
Is there anybody in your area with a drone?
Well, there is, and I shared a drone video on my own Facebook timeline so I wouldn't lose it, because then I wanted to get in contact with the guys who'd done it. But can I find it on my own Facebook timeline again? No, I blooming can't. Can I find it by searching YouTube or Google? Drone footage Marnie, drone footage Stupa. It's quite specific when it comes to keywords, that search. But no, I cannot find it at all.
Well, I think set an intention and you'll bump into this person. I'm thinking what you should do, because actually I have a client in France who rents a drone person for making her property videos. I think rather than buy one and get bored with it 3 months later, why not borrow that man's, even if you pay him a fee?
Well, I think that's a good idea, because whenever I watch Casey and his drones, he gets an endless supply of them and he buys lots of them as well. He either crashes them, loses them, or they just completely sail off into the sunset.
Yes, and what would you do with a drone?
Well, you can get them for €300 to €500.
Yes. No, forget the price. What would you do with it if you owned one? I would
use it to take. If you've watched any drone footage, you realise what I would use it for. It's just beautiful. You get beautiful scenery shots.
Yes, but how many of those could you do and use? Endless photo. What are we going to get? Endless aerial shots of the Marnie.
Well, no, and of me and Sarah walking up and down the trucks.
Yeah, is that worth €500? That's what I'm asking myself.
He's laughing in the back.
Yeah, rent space on his, darling. That is not a good reason for buying one. I'm so sorry. It's not.
But I can't find him, Judith.
Well, I think you will find him, and you'll see him out droning. Pardon the pun.
Yeah, it is. I mean, a 55-year-old portly British woman with a drone would be a very comical sight.
Well, funny enough, I don't think that matters. I like to catch people on the hop, like. Who could give a rat's arse about what people think about us? Quite frankly, whenever I go to the hairdresser, a new one, I say, I know I look like a fat middle-aged woman, but I'm not a fat middle-aged woman. Do not give me the haircut of a fat middle-aged woman. We're not what we look like, are we?
No, we're not. I was just
we're geeks. We're a couple of geeks, you and I. I like Bruno Mars singing Carpool Karaoke and you want a drone. How does that make us, in any way normal?
I can't help thinking what my kids would think if Mummy got a drone.
Yeah, but it's not worth it. The novelty of that is going to wear off in 30 seconds. Rent space on his.
What I might do is get a cheap drone and play with that first.
Well, honestly, I think you'll tire of drone ownership quite quickly because there's a limited amount of stuff you can use it for. If you're going to use it for commercial purposes, different. But once we've seen 3 videos of the Marnie and 2 of you and Sarah going to Katerina's and back, that's the end of it.
Judith, a woman who tires of drone ownership is tired of life itself.
No, that's not true, Nicola. I'm afraid. You are not Casey Neistat. Get over it.
Oh my God! I'm actually laughing so hard I can't stop it.
Well, press pause, darling, if we need. Because you're wheezing like, who is it? Roadrunner that makes laugh. It does laugh.
No, it's Muttley. Do you remember Muttley?
Yes, you're wheezing like Muttley.
I've always laughed like Muttley. Oh my God, you're so funny. The thought of your silver sneakers popped into my head there where you were talking about not being a typical middle-aged woman.
Well, this is the end of the second year, the first year of the second pair. I bought them for Christmas first time 2 years ago, and I bought myself a second pair, which I've worn every day. The first pair I wore every day of 2015. The second pair I've worn every day of 2016, and I need a new pair.
Yeah. Did you? Oh well, I ventured. I don't know if I should tell you this. Oh, we got plenty of time, haven't we? I went to the Katerina supermarket, had its previous incarnation on the seafront in Stupa, and it was a small but perfectly packed emporium, which went back a long way and went upstairs as well. And I haven't really been past the the tea lights and dairy product, because it's all sandals and clothes. It's all more gifty, the one on the seafront now. It sits out, the big one up on the main road. But I went into the back end of it yesterday, and it was quite astonishing how much amazing clothes they had. And some of it was really beautifully cut linen, like Yohji Yamamoto kind of stuff, really flowing linen, cut really interestingly. And I was a bit astonished, and I was trying to ask the lady where she gets the clothes from, and she didn't really speak much English. So we did establish it came from Athens. And then I walked that down towards the front, and I came across this incredible Converse section, where they're selling €40, €50, €70 sneakers. And I was just quite astonished by the range that they had in there.
Yeah, they do have a range. Have you got any ladies size 8 dainty ox?
I don't
know. Because I can't get them in England at the moment, so you might send me a pair back.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they've got silver ones, but I'll take a picture of the range in Katerina's. You'll be quite astonished.
Yeah, the ones I like are quite hard to find.
Yeah. Well, they said black ones, which is the only colour I'm interested in. So
they're a bit dull for me.
Was it you that said in one of your blog posts recently about a silver-coloured top?
2 years ago, I bought a silver-coloured top, and you took the piss out of me about it. But actually, I'm thinking of wearing it on Christmas Day again this year.
Right. You mentioned something about it looks better with a tan. Was that?
Well, no. That's a lovely kind of sand-coloured top, which just makes me look like a sad old lady without a tan. But when I got a tan in St Martin, will look absolutely gorgeous. Oh. But I have to say, the silvery top, because I've lost 2 stone on my low-carb thing, just makes me look like somebody's let some air out of my balloon. So, actually, I tried on a few clothes this week, and they're all a bit big, which is a nice thing, but also quite a tragic thing.
Yeah, it's what's that thing they say? You lose weight in you get the wrinkles all start to appear.
Oh, I'm going to end up looking like Nigel Lawson. You probably can't remember who he is. Nigella's father, who was Chancellor of the Exchequer, lost a lot of weight and ended up looking like a wrinkly old man. But those are the risks, aren't they? This is life. In your 60s, wrinkles might make an appearance.
Swings and roundabouts, as they say.
Exactly.
So what are you looking forward to the year ahead then?
Oh, well, I've got a list, actually.
Goals, hopes, dreams and intentions.
Yes, exactly right, yeah. I've got a list. Shall I go first, or do you want to go first?
No, you go first, yeah.
All right, and I think number 1 was here this time last year and didn't happen. It nearly happened, but it didn't happen. I want to be writing and speaking on bigger virtual and social platforms than just on our own. So I want a column somewhere, and I want a radio phone-in.
Oh.
I want, as you know, because I said it 2 weeks ago and you and Sarah laughed at me, I want to become an app. That is, I want to disappear and have all my content just on an app.
Mm.
My new thing, I've got really clear about what it is and I'm going to slightly tweak my website to reflect this. Slightly tweak it, a small tweak. I've got very clear in my own mind that the 2 things I do are consultation and conversation. So you can pick my brains, that's consultation, and I need to talk to you about it, that's conversation. And 2 C's, we love alliteration, so I've got quite clear about that. I've got 2 coaching groups, one's called Club 100 and one is called Small Business Big Magic. Club 100 is closed, and I will look after those clients until they don't want to be looked after anymore, but I'm not adding any more in there because it includes an hour a month of my time, and that is finite. So I don't want to grow that group because it means I have to find another hour every month for every new client. But Small Business Big Magic is such an efficient use of my time, and they're such a lovely group that can easily be expanded. So that's where my focus has been for a while now and will continue to be. At point 5 is the one I alluded to last week. Do not allow me, under any circumstances, to commit to something for 365 days. When was the year that I blogged every day? Was that last year? It wasn't 2016. Was it 2015? I don't think it was. It was 14. Well, 1 year recently, 2014 or 2015. I did 365 daily blogs. What was I thinking of? This year, I've posted a tune. Today it's day 346. Do not let me ever again commit to something which goes on so long. You said last week our word was consistency. I don't want to do anything that requires me. You know me, I can't start something and not.
No, you're a complete
see it through. I am. And actually, long before day 365, you think, oh, God, I wish I'd never started this. But because it's me, I've got to see it through to the end. So I'm going to avoid committing to anything every day for 365 days.
The problem is, Judith, you commit to yourself before you tell anyone else. And so we don't get the chance to say to you, are you really sure about that, Judith?
Well, I'm just not doing it. I'm trying to get a T-shirt which says, do not commit to anything for 365 days. It's a terrible, I don't know what it is. When it becomes a burden, it seems like an attractive idea. And in fact, for many of my clients, I recommend it. Because actually, if you're just starting off a website or a blog or a podcast or something, commit to get some content on there. But I don't need to keep doing things daily for 365 days.
No, you don't. You've proved to yourself and everyone that.
Yeah, that's my 5. Tommy, yours.
Well, I am looking forward to having one signature program, which is high level, which will be a 6-week program, 6 live trainings, and then 6 Q&A sessions. And I'm looking forward to opening that 3 times a year, and then it will close. And in between that, people will be able to join my low-level membership inner circle. I don't mean low-level as in the people in it. I mean low-level as in inexpensive. And that will open and close 4 times a year. So the focus is on...
Oh, that's going to confuse you.
Yeah, I am resisting that a little bit.
No, it's going to confuse you. 3 times a year on one and 4 times a year on the other.
I know. What I think I should do is open the pivot point 4 times a year and then have the opening for the inner circle the month afterwards. So the people who didn't get around to making a decision about the pivot point.
That's more like it. And also you told me once that years don't divide into 3, they divide into 4.
Well, the thing I was thinking was, and I don't know, I'd welcome your opinion on this, is that we're still quite focused on this whole school year thing. And I don't actually think that my own ideal business clients are mums, or if they are mums, they're past that stage when there's...
Yeah, I don't think it's that so much. I think it's, so for instance, January and September are in the psyche.
Yeah, so the reason I was thinking 3 times a year for the pivot point, being a 6-week program,
yeah.
I used to do everything on 12 weeks, and now I've cut that back because that feels like a massive commitment.
Yeah, so when would the third one be? April?
Well, it would have to be January.
April. September.
February, March, April. Yeah, April will be the next one. Then that takes us to one in July.
No, it doesn't, because you have July and August off, and you start again in September, October, November.
Yeah, but so then you only get 3 in
well, you said 3, first of all.
I did. That's why I said 3, Judith, because everyone's supposed to take July and August off. But really, do business people think like that? Or would they think...
Well, you know the answer to this, and I'd say this to my clients. Nicola would say, you'll only discover when you start testing it.
That's very true.
What I wouldn't do is 3 times a year on one and 4 times a year on the other, because you're going to confuse yourself up the yin-yang. But I like the idea of 30 days later, the other one for the people who didn't get in on the other one.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it? And then I can just say to myself, well, if nobody joins in July, I can have July and August.
Well, yeah, and then there's a little overlap then. It goes A, B, A, B, A, B, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Okay, so then there's the app launching in January, and I need your opinion about something on that as well.
Okay.
What I was thinking was a means of promoting that. I'm going to do PR on this, so I need to get my ducks in a row and make a decision. With the app brings everything in together, but it also enables people for 30 days only after it launches to book a one-to-one digital marketing session. Now, I was going to charge $79 for that, just to weed out the tire kickers. And then that was 100% redeemable against either my inner circle or the pivot point program. But then I was watching a Gary Vee thing today, and he was talking about jab, 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 right hook. He said what he meant by that, a lot of people got confused, was he didn't mean give content, give content, give content, sell. He meant give content, give content, give content, ask. And don't be attached to the outcome on the ask. So he was saying that he doesn't rely on the content he puts out making him sales. He makes his money from other things like investing in businesses and selling books and all that stuff. So I was thinking, would it be too ridiculous to say the first, 100 people who apply for a coaching session through the app get a free half an hour or a free hour, rather than charging $79 and it being 100% redeemable?
No, I prefer the charge and the redeemable. Do you know how much the 6-week program is going to cost?
Well, I'm going to launch it very shortly to the people who've answered my survey, of which I have 260 odd people. I'm going to launch it to them for 500 quid and to iron out the wrinkles. And then I will do an early bird launch in early January through the app for 1,000 quid basically. And then the final price counting down thereafter will be 1,500 quid.
Right, then I think 79 is far too cheap and 100 is far too many.
Okay.
You want to do the number you actually want to do and charge them a sum of money that's congruent with 1,000 to 1,500.
Remember, these are going to be cold people who've downloaded the app from the App Store and have never heard of me.
Yeah, but as a taster for spending 1,000, 1,500 quid, 79 sets the wrong tone for me.
Okay, so...
I mean, unless you've muddled up the point of these. So if it's a one-to-one consultation to see why they should spend 1,000 to 1,500 quid, then 79 is too cheap. If it was into the inner circle, how much is the inner circle?
$79 a month.
Well, 79 is the right price, then you get the first month free, having had a...
All right, so it's a consultation.
It fits for the second one to me. It doesn't fit for the first one, the top level one.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Because the top level one is how much would James or Frank Kern or somebody like that charge? It's back to your book about top level consulting, whatever it's called.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it's a brand mismatch, the 79 quid or free for the expensive program. I think it's right for the...
Yeah, it's redeemable goods in a circle. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I really like redeemable always, by the way.
Yeah. So I really want to do PR on it, and obviously it would be more attractive to the journalists if people through the app, the first X number of people through the app could get a free coaching session. But I also know that will bring me a lot of unsuitable people.
Yeah, and it's too many, Nicola. It's a bit like me saying, don't let me do anything 365. You haven't got it in you to do 100 sessions. You haven't. It's too demanding. Honestly, you'll be bored with it by 20. Easily. I've got to have something to make it PRable. Because I'm not sure that is spectacularly PRable. Let's get our heads together to see if we can think of something more PRable than that.
Okay. We have to be quick, so it's going to the App Store very shortly. So
okay.
Head around it.
All right, well, keep brainstorming, I think.
Okay. All right. So then the other thing is I'm going back to Zen 4.0 because it's just such a more robust forum members area and so much more pleasurable to use than BB Press. I mean, it's just bloody horrible, BB Press. It really is. This year, I'm looking forward to doing 3 new books. The Science of Getting Rich Online, which is on draft 4 now, and I'm nearly at the point where I can put it on Amazon. Swagger and Soul, which is Sarah and I's account of moving to Greece and finding ourselves. That all obviously won't happen until the middle of the year because obviously we have to do our 6 months here first. And then I'd like to take the Business Success Factory interviews, where I asked everyone about their mind, marketing and money. I'd love to get that knocked into a shape for a book sometime. That's quite a big project though, so I'm putting that one towards the end. And that's pretty much my goals. I don't have hopes anymore, I just do things. Dreams, more travel and intentions to carry on travelling the world for a year or two and make lovely money while I'm doing it. Is that it? That's good.
I think that is it. Is that it? Anything else?
Yeah. No, that's it for me.
Right, do you have a word of the year for 2017?
You're going to laugh. It was probably my word of the year last year, which was focus. I haven't mastered it yet, Judith, and I'm going to keep trying.
Can you open up our website, ownitthepodcast.com, please? Because I want to show you something fun. The word that I've chosen is struggle. And I know you're going to think I'm bizarre. I'm not choosing this word for myself. I'm going to continue my mission to get clients to stop struggling. And I notice how often they say it to me, and I want them to give up thinking of it. They say things like, because what I struggle with. And it's like, I want them to see that it's a choice. It's a choice to struggle with things. And it doesn't, everything doesn't have to be a struggle. And it's conditioning. Struggle is conditioning. But could you look at what's our most shared? I discovered this afterwards. What's our most shared episode? Look there.
Addicted to struggle.
I noticed that after I'd chosen it as my word of 2017. My mission is to stop my clients to do this struggling thing. It's also our most shared show, Addicted to Struggle. So people clearly recognise that it's an addiction as well. Quite fascinating, isn't it?
I mean, it's all about language, isn't it? And you chose word last week, didn't you, as a word?
Yeah.
I mean, I prefer to say challenge or challenged because that's a more positive word than struggle. But sometimes it can feel like a struggle in your head, can't it?
It can. It definitely does. And actually, when my clients use language, I get them to see the language that they use and decide whether that's what they really mean or whether there's another way of looking at that which would make it easier.
Yes. I am a big fan of this whole. There was a bit of a debate going on in one of the groups I'm in on Facebook about this whole thing about things being easy, and someone got very, very cross with the person who put the view forward that things should be easy and enjoyable. They got really quite offended that it was almost like the person who was doing it was denigrating the hard work that the second person had put into their success.
Well, I'm not averse to hard work. I've done plenty of it in my life. But I've got a client who's moving house today, and she moved house fairly recently recently in this year, maybe a year ago. And that was the first time she'd moved house for 19 years. And it was a struggle. Last time she moved house, it was a struggle. Today, it's the easiest thing I've ever seen. She told me at the end of November she was going to move house. She's doing it today, which is the 14th of December. So she's made it happen in 2 weeks. Some of the boxes from the previous move have never been unpacked. So guess what we're doing with those? They're going straight in the dustbin. And, it was her boyfriend that found the house. She saw the house not expecting to like it. She liked it. They've organised with the estate agents to move in 2 weeks. They're getting out of their old house easily. They're going away for Christmas and then they're going away for New Year. Do you mean it's easy? And actually you would think, wouldn't you, when you move house, you think, oh my God, what a drama that move. You kind of assume it's going to be. And I said to her yesterday, what is it I always say? When it's right, it's easy. When we start struggling, it's because something's not right. Now, hang on, there's a helicopter going over. But do you see what I mean? Struggle isn't, well, it depends where you live in the world, okay, and what your financial circumstances are. It's not your current reality. It's not my current reality. I can think of some people today in the world, a lot of people in the world, for whom it is their current reality. But in our fairly privileged, although we've had difficulties, we discussed those last week, and we still do, struggle is quite often a choice.
Yeah.
And an addiction, going back to that episode number 47, because we were brought up to believe that all good things come from hard work. Actually, hard work and struggle are not the same thing, are they?
No, I was just thinking that as you were talking about it. They are not the same thing at all. And I think people, when you say to people, it doesn't have to be a struggle, they think you mean you don't have to do any work.
Well, possibly they do. I just noticed how often clients actually always say, what I still struggle with is. And I'm thinking, why are you choosing that?
Yeah, it's a mental concept rather than a physical thing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's all about what's still wrong with me. It's all right. I can hear you, Judith. I can hear it's easy for you, and I get that. But actually, what I still struggle with is just give that up. Give up the struggle element of that and find an easier way to do it.
There's something that Gary Vee's banging on at the moment. Whenever people say that to him or say about anything being hard, he's saying he just read somewhere that it's a 1 in 400 trillion chance of being born a human being on this planet. I don't know where this research has come from or whatever, but he says once you realise you've already won the lottery, even if you've ended up in a country that's not quite so conducive to becoming an entrepreneur, you really start to look on life as a much more grateful human being. And gratitude, as we know, is A, the secret of happiness, and B, the secret of attracting more gorgeous things into your life.
Yeah.
So he says, he can't help but be grateful every single day because he was born a human.
Yes. He was born at all. He was born at all, or where we were born.
Yeah, totally. And again, the one thing that's come out of this year for me is this whole thing about the law of attraction and how much I misunderstood it the first time I came across it and read about it. The whole year has been about getting control of my thoughts, making sure that I try and, I still spiral. I still go into it occasionally. I mean, I had a bit of a scarce thing the other day and Sarah pulled me up on it quite quickly. which was where, I was starting to worry about next year and where I was going to live. And she said, we had a good long conversation as we trudged around our 6,000 steps around the village. And it really helped to get it back in perspective again, because I'm not without resources. I'm not without Airbnb. I'm not without places to house sit. There's lots of different options.
I've forgotten what your word of the week was, word of the year.
Oh, well, the word of the year is focus.
Focus, yes, okay.
Again, something I've traditionally struggled with, Jude.
Refocus. Maybe that's what New Year's are all about, is refocusing. And that's what I began my list of something that was there at the beginning of last year as well. Still want it.
Yeah. Okay, so who or what's going to...
No, project updates about the podcast. I've got things I want to say in this section about the podcast. Is that all right?
Off you jolly well go then.
Right, the thing I like best about the podcast when I'm listening to it, and I'll tell the listeners what our process is. So after we've recorded it, you go off and do something to it, and then you let me know I can listen to it. And the thing I like best about it is how much you make me laugh on it. When I'm laughing on it, we both laugh actually. You've done your Muttley laugh today. My favourite thing about the podcast is how much you make me laugh, or how much we make each other laugh. That's my favourite thing. And there's something that I think we should get more comfortable with, because I think it has the potential to make a better show, and that is disagreement. We disagree on quite a lot, and because I'm a nice girl, I don't like it when we disagree, but I think we do disagree on quite a lot of things, and I think what I've written down here is let's get more comfortable with that, because the yin and the yang makes a better show.
It does, and I get very uncomfortable in my tummy when you say something that I disagree with, and I'm trying to pluck up the courage to say something.
Yeah, and I don't say anything when you say things I disagree with, often, although we did have one or two major disagreements this year. But I think we should get not just about the podcast, but getting comfortable, and it happens to me a lot on Facebook as well, getting comfortable with people having a different opinion from my own is a good thing.
Yes, it totally is, because it means that you're more able to cope with and react better to what happens in the world.
Yeah, or just let them be.
Yeah.
We don't have to agree with everybody all of the time. In fact, one of the conversations this week, I had to say, look, you've got an opinion and I've got an opinion. You're not right and I'm not wrong. There's plenty of room in the world for people to have a different opinion on things. I
think this largely depends on how confrontation was dealt with in your house when you were growing up. Because in our house, there was no naysaying my mother. Well, you see, there's an interesting point, isn't it? Because disagreement doesn't necessarily need to lead to confrontation or even mean confrontation. It feels like the end of the world to me when I know. It's great. Funny enough, my best friend Kim, her and her husband and children used to disagree violently all the time. And I used to think, if this happened to me, I was arguing with my husband or one of my children like this, it would be the end of our relationship. I would just be walking away from this, because I absolutely cannot handle confrontation physically. On a physical level, it makes me feel quite ill. Yeah, and so I would examine use of the word confrontation, because I don't think disagreement needs to become a confrontation. I think that it's about acceptance of the other's viewpoint. And I think what they call in novels and telly and films, this disagreement, this is artistic tension. It's makes something interesting. Yes, yeah, you're right. Okay, so we mustn't be quite so nice to one another. I'm not suggesting we start being nasty, but if you don't agree or I don't agree, I don't think it does any harm to. We always did this when we were in the money gym. We expressed opposing opinions about things. And quite often people would say, you two need to get your act together and present a single argument. How are we ever going to do that? I don't even think it's valuable to do that. People used to say that. Yes. They didn't say it to me. No. Well, because they know you don't like confrontation. And actually, it's only feedback. It's only their opinion. I don't think it's right. That's the point. We're two creators, and with people I love very much, we have different opinions. I think that's the one thing that's been really come out this year as well is, you're right, we have agreed fairly majorly on several occasions.
Oh, we agree on most, Nicola. We agree on most. We agree on 90%. And the fact is when we disagree on the 10%, it's on big issues.
Yeah, but the other thing we've learned is, well, I certainly feel that I want you in my life. And I don't, anything that comes between that is, might stop that is something that has to be sorted out fast.
Well, I think the other thing as well, if you go back to Louise Hay's best, earliest work, which was You Can Heal Your Life, the exercise you do is, I love and accept myself exactly as I am, which is quite hard. If you can love and accept yourself exactly as you are, and that's your life's work, you very, very quickly realise that only makes sense if you can love and accept everybody else exactly as they are. And there are some people in my life I haven't been able to love and accept exactly as they are, and therefore they have to get the bum's rush. They have to leave my life because I will never accept their behaviour, nor do I want to or choose to. But, the secret to success with family at Christmas and New Year is to love and accept people exactly as they are. And to recognise that we have different opinions on things. And also to protect our right to change our minds about things. So the fact that I hold an opinion today in December 2016, I might be selling you a completely different worldview this time next year.
Yeah, that's happened to me twice this year, actually.
I think it makes a more interesting podcast, is what I'm saying. Now, that's only my 2 points out of 5. We've got a technical issue which will get worse when I start travelling, but when I listen to our recordings, and I know I listen to them before they're tidied up by Patricia. Is it Patricia who tidies them up?
They go through a thing called Ophonic.
Right, when I listen to them, my audio quality is much worse since you've gone to live in stupor.
Yes, it's better this week, actually.
It is better this week, yes. It is better this week. But it's been very glitchy, hasn't it, since you moved?
It has been. The last couple of weeks it has been, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a tech challenge there. And I think we've got 2 opportunities. I think we've missed an opportunity because you're interested in your new projects and I'm interested in mine. But we haven't reviewed our own website for ages.
Yes.
And actually, I don't think we're making the best of it.
Okay.
So there's an opportunity in 2017 for us to review that site. There's no most wanted action for a start, is there? That's clearly visible high up the top.
There is, actually. When new people arrive at the site, they're invited to sign up.
Okay, nice. Okay, I think we should review the website and see if we're sweating it to its max.
Yes.
And I think we should consider shaking up the format because we've used this prompt sheet for 111 episodes now. We've mentioned before shaking it up. We just haven't put our minds to, if it wasn't this shape, what would it be?
Yeah, okay.
No, it's just an opportunity. I don't think we should do it today, or I don't even think we should do it in January. But there's a chance there to refresh it so that we can do another 111 episodes.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, I'm up for all of that.
Okay. Anything you want to say in this section about the podcast?
No. I think I said it all last week, didn't I, really?
I think you did, actually. Yeah. Okay, so who or what's impressed or is going to impress you for 2017?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is who or what's going to impress me.
Yeah.
People who embrace the new ways of doing things and show that they're forward thinking. I mean, for example, there's a chap who I met, Matt Duggan. He's brilliant on Snapchat. There's a chap who I met when I went to talk in Digital Kent called Dan Knowlton, who is really at the cutting edge of anything. And he runs a digital marketing agency. But the interesting thing about the way Dan does it is he's very much doing it locally. He goes to local networking things, but he then shares stuff using new technology the minute it comes out. But he's also sharing how local businesses can use new technology the minute it comes out. So he's very much embracing the whole local global thing at the same time. I mean, just to give you an example, he was headhunted by Facebook recently just because they've been so impressed with what he's been doing. And give him his due, he didn't take them up on it because he wanted to carry on building his business, which is a family thing with his brother and his dad. So people who take new technology and make it fit their business and make it serve their business, that's what's going to impress me in 2017.
Well, mine's rather similar, actually. 1 moment, I'm still writing notes on yours. Anyone who commits to what this whole episode is about, dreams, plans, goals and intentions. Anybody who shows up in 2017 with the intention of improving their life or their business or both?
Yeah. Yeah, who seizes the day. Anyone who seizes the day.
Anyone who shows up, shows up to do the work. I'm ready to do the work. I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm ready to dig in. The time is right for me. I've got dreams. I've got goals, intentions, and plans, and I'm here. I am. Help.
And I'm expecting it to be easy. It won't be a struggle, but I'll be working hard.
Yeah. Anybody who shows up, anybody who commits is what I've put here. I think that's the thing. Anybody who commits to their dreams and plans and goals and intentions.
And people who don't give up either. So when it doesn't perhaps work the first time, they pick themselves up, dust themselves off and carry on. Tenacious.
Well, I think we've got to know. I mean, I've been at it since 1977. You know, it's not an overnight thing, ladies and gentlemen.
Overnight success is never overnight.
No.
even I can't help myself. I've got to do it. Even the latest winner of the X Factor, Matt Terry, has been at it since he was a tiny lad.
Yeah.
Singing and singing and singing.
And going back to my Bruno Mars on Carpool Karaoke, James Corden asked him, when did you start singing? He said, when I was 4, I started to do Elvis impersonation. So when he was 4.
Yeah, fantastic, isn't it? I've got to go and watch that now. So that'll be my New Year treat.
Okay, it's very funny, actually.
Good. I like funny things.
Yeah, so do I.
See you.
So I'll see you on the other side. I'll see you in 2017.
Yeah, see you next year.
Yeah, bye for now.
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.